The Russian Federation has not made a single progress at the front, so it is actively bombing Ukrainian infrastructure and mocking local residents. Emergency blackouts continue throughout the whole country. Ukrainians have to adapt quickly to new wartime conditions. And this, of course, has influenced heavily the life of every Ukrainian, businesses and educational processes.
During the 9 months of the full-scale war, Russian terrorists attacked Ukraine's energy facilities more than 90 times, the Prosecutor General's office reported.
The Russians destroyed everything and they are happy about it.
Hundreds of residents in Kiev, queued with bottles after Russians' attacks, knocked out water and power supplies on October the 31st. Energy facilities in Kiev, Kirovograd, Chernivtsi and Cherkasy regions were fired upon. In addition, in Kharkiv and Zaporizhia. On the eve of winter, Russia is trying to provoke an energy collapse in Ukraine.
The main goal now is to close the sky above the object of critical and energy infrastructure. If we receive enough air defense equipment to provide at least 19% protection against cruise missiles and unmanned aerial vehicles, then with a high probability the heating season will pass normally. If this is not done, there is a high probability that the united energy system of Ukraine will disintegrate into separate energy island after another massive attack. And then no one will be able to guarantee its functioning.
Ever since the times of the USSR, our country has been in a single energy system with Russia and Belarus. And we turned off just before the invasion, at midnight on February the 24th. And on March 16th, Ukraine joined the unified energy system of Europe. Before the full-scale war, 51% of electricity was produced by nuclear power plants, 36% by thermal power plants, 5% by hydroelectric power plants, and 8% by green generation. Currently, a third of Ukrainian power plants are under temporary occupation. One of them, the Luhansk station, is cut off from the Ukrainian power grid and operates in parallel with the Russian one. We don't know a lot of information about the energy supply of occupied settlements. About the territories controlled by Ukraine, where hostilities continue, the authorities urge people to live before the onset of frost, because there is a critical destruction of the infrastructure there. About the temporarily occupied energy facilities, Zaporizhia nuclear power plant attracts the most attention. Russian troops periodically shelling the station and the city of Energodar, provoking an environmental disaster. But Moscow blames Ukraine for shelling. Russia wants to connect the Zaporizhia NPP to its power system, but the Energoatom company considers this unlikely.
It's quite a long process to do that, so it's not easy first, second, there is no preconditions for that at all, so it's no any work done for preparation of this process, and just to prepare for this transfer from one supplier to another, you will need about 3 years.
Zaporizhia station supplied electricity mainly to large industrial facilities that stopped working because of the war. Due to the invasion of Russia, electricity consumption in Ukraine decreased by 35%. In addition, the so-called fan power outages were introduced in the country. So if the Russian missiles don't reach their targets, there will be enough energy capacity to survive next winter.